All right, quiet on the set.
All right, gotcha.
This weekend SEC football promo. Take 2. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your guy, Mr. Fingaz, coming to you live from Zagnif Central.
Hey, and I'm Collin P., your brother from another. What it is, Showbiz?
I will tell you what it is, Showbiz. You guys, welcome to this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. But before we get started, do us a little favor. If you're watching us on the YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. We appreciate you much. And if you want to be a contributor to the show, a little something to help the cause, right down there in the bottom, in the lower third, in the crawl, rolling across your screen is the address for our Patreon page. We got some great perks for those of you that are contributors and regular viewers of the show, because we appreciate you so very, very much. So, Collin, my man, I think it's time to get this show started. What you say?
My man, let's lay the hammer down.
Oh, you know we gonna do something before 2 something. Club Shay coming right at you right after this. Oh, hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls.
What Bama does, what Bama do. They were giving Alabama, like Alabama was this. If Alabama didn't lose their 2 stars.
Did not show up that day, or was it?
You watch the same
It's offense more like I've noticed it's more of a passing.
Hey, who knows? It might have been, might have not been. Who knows? But then again, that's what I call it football. I mean,
oh man, that's definitely going on the blooper reel.
When you do that voice, I think of Norbert. Oh my God, we have a dandelion encrusted rib.
Hey there, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls. Hope everybody's doing well. You, and you. Thank you so much for dropping by. I am Mr. Fingaz coming to you from Zagnif Live. I almost forgot where I was, and that's an embarrassing thing when you live. You can't just go, wait, I'm gonna do it again. Hold on a second. We're gonna come back and do it again. But Mr. Fingaz coming to you from Zagnif Live. That fella right over there. That handsome fella, the brother from another mother, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base, in your face, in the place. Collin P., how you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm doing just great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. See, you got a little round of applause there, sir. You take it.
I appreciate it. I'll take it what I can get, man. Take what I can get.
Gotta give you some love there. Give you some love. And welcome to This Week in SEC Football, episode 2. I'm sorry, season 2. See, that's 2. I gotta wait a minute. Hold on. Hey, it's Mr. Fingaz coming to you from Zagnif Live. I am one half of the cast of This Week in SEC Football. I've already introduced Collin. This is season 2, episode 8, and that's where we are right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead before I forget, because I'm on such a roll I might forget, and thank our very first sponsor today, DJG Enterprises, Greek Gans. Get your custom sports gear from there now. Hit them up, www.greekgans.com. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of This Week in SEC Football. Also, we got merch. We got merch, and neither one of us is wearing any today, so we're not very effective at selling our own merchandise, but that's the link right there. tinyurl.com, ZA Podcast merch. You can go right there and grab all of your custom gear today. And we're going to be adding some more at the end of the week, so we'll have some This Week in SEC Football shirts. The logo will be on the back. Bada, bada, bow. Bing, bing, bing. Anyway, what's good, man?
Man, just doing same thing every day, man. Get up, going to work, coming home, pretty uneventful. I'll take it uneventful. Nothing really excited, but just, the white uniforms from Georgia.
No, those are the business. We're going to get into that in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get into that in a minute. For those of you that don't know, we are both, if you couldn't tell, we're both dog fans. Collin's got his up over the top. I tried to point at it, but I'm not in the same room with you, so it's like over.
Oh, that one.
It's like, yeah, like that way. There we go. Straight line. I got a laser. Big dog fan. Oh, by the way, hey, Collin, who won the last national championship game? I forgot. What they call What they call them? Go something. They
I
say
think it's spelled differently than it would normally spell. I think DAWG. Not
Oh,
dog.
yeah. Those guys. Didn't they? Don't they spell the state JAWJA?
Yeah, Georgia.
The Georgia Dogs. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Much love. Hey, look, we're gonna shout them out all season long. We're gonna shout them out all season long.
Hey,
Okay,
41
so
years
y'all
is over
just
with. We got to. 41 years is done.
yeah, we gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. Okay. So yeah, we're both Georgia fans. So there was a whole lot of hullabaloo about the white uniforms, and that'll just go. We just go ahead and jump into that right now. Um, unless you've been living under a rock or just don't follow sports at all, you know that the Manning family is one of the most famous families in sports today. What with the patriarch of the family, Arch Manning, he played in New Orleans, right?
I believe
Yeah,
that's right.
he played quarterback for New Orleans. Peyton Manning, the older brother, played college football at the University of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
The younger brother, Eli, played ball at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them had successful careers. Both of them won two Super Bowls apiece while they played in the NFL. Both are retired, and they have a nephew that is stirring up a whole lot of buzz. He's the number one most recruited player in the country right now. His name is Arch Manning, named after his grandfather, and he plays at Isidore. I think that's how they pronounce the school name down in Louisiana. And kid's an absolute stud. And he has narrowed down his search. He's narrowed down his choices for where he wants to commit to three schools. University of Texas. Don't ask me why. Did I say that out loud? You know, University of Alabama and the University of Georgia. All three schools that, well, Texas not quite yet, but in a few years, will all schools that will be in the SEC at some
Yeah.
point while he is playing football in college. So he made his official visit. Now he did just, must be nice to have family that got money. They just hop on a
He's zipping everywhere.
private jet and go to Athens and watch a game, and then go down and check out. They flew all over the place. They must have visited 6 or 7 different schools. But they've been treated like royalty this whole time. So that he's been the big commit, and he graduates next year.
Mm-hmm.
So he graduates in 2023. So that's the guy that everybody's holding their breath for right now. But he made a trip down to Georgia. His official visit, coach met him, and they did. That's when they rolled out the all-white uniforms that we're talking about. These uniforms are nice, man. They're white uniforms with the black numbers with red trim, with the red collar, with the G right at the tip of the collar. They come with the towels with the G on them. They got the G on the right hip with the Nike swoosh on the left. Really, really nice looking uniforms. Now, my personal opinion, I don't really care what your color combo is. Just go out and win. That's all I'm concerned with. But the white uniforms do look real nice. Social media is just like on fire.
Yeah, I mean, you have the traditionalists. I mean, you like the silver breeches, you like those white jerseys. I mean, me personally, I don't like to mess with the uniforms too much. But I mean, if they look good, and I'm with you though. I mean, whatever you wear, as long as you win, get those W's. Who really cares, right? But I mean, I'm more of a traditionalist. Like, I mean, I'm always happy to see them in the silver breeches and the white tops or red tops. Don't want to mess it up too. I mean, I don't want to be Oregon. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be
right. Like Oregon
game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't get it twisted. And Oregon, University of Oregon, their one of their alumni is a big heavy hitter at Nike. Yeah. And so as part of his contribution back to his alma mater, he has laced them up. I mean, the uniform combinations are insane. I think they have like 3 figures worth of different uniform combinations, where most schools maybe have 3, maybe 6 or so.
Yeah.
A lot. And Oregon has yet to win a national championship. They've been good.
I mean, they look good.
They look good. They look good not being in the college football playoff is what I'm trying to say. Not trying to knock on them. But so yeah, the uniforms look really nice. And Arch also visited with the 4-star recruit out of Texas, Jalen Hale. I don't know. I'm kind of excited that even if he doesn't come to Georgia, I don't think it'll hurt us that much, because next season, Stetson will be gone, because this is last year of eligibility.
Right.
We supposedly have Gunnar Stockton coming in this year.
Yeah.
We've got Brock Vandergriff. We
Mhm.
still got Carson Beck. And
Yep.
then, so it's not like we don't have a stable of skilled kids with skill coming in.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
just,
we're running back you now. We're turning into quarterback you. It seems like I mean, it's with the
well, we would hope.
stars. Well, yeah. I mean, this is all on paper, right? This is all on paper. Nothing's been shown. You have all these 4-star, 5 stars. It's looking like we're running back you now. We're quarterback you. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But I mean, then
Hopefully.
again, it goes to the next. It begs the question where you have all this talent, and only one person can start. Only one person can play. So I mean, where these guys what are they gonna do?
Oh man. Yeah, what are you gonna do? It just uh wow, breaking news. This just in. Totally non-football related. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion. They're facing up to 30 years in jail.
Holy moly!
For those of you completely unfamiliar, again, living under a rock, living with the Chrisleys was up until the Troubles a staple of the USA Network reality show staple. Um, yeah, so tax evasion, they're facing 30 years. Wow, that's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. They'll probably do 5 and spend the rest on probation and have to pay off a bunch of money. But
Yeah,
there it is. Anyway, not to get sidelined. The biggest problem that we face with our quarterback room is that we get guys that are all in the same year. Like they're all really close together.
yeah,
A case in point, JT wound up having to take off and go to West Virginia because
mhm,
Stetson said he was coming back. And one thing we know about Kirby is faithful to his guy. Just like Jake Fromm got him to the championship the year before,
yeah,
he gave Jake the wheel again the following year.
yeah.
And unless Stetson is just absolutely horrendous in practice, coach will probably give him the wheel again this year. That
Oh,
still remain. I mean, it still remains to be seen. We know Gunner, not yeah, Gunner's supposed to be coming. Um, matter of fact, I think he's probably on campus if I'm not mistaken, because he should be graduated by now. So because the graduations have been taking place, so
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Um, that I think is going to be the biggest. I think that is going to forever be the biggest hurdle while Kirby's at Georgia. Is
Yeah.
just there's so much talent across the country, and Kirby is a whiz at getting them to come to Georgia.
Mhm.
But Kirby's a defensive guy. Like he's
Right.
not a quarterbacks guy.
Right.
Kirby played defense. And he was a linebacker, wasn't he? Was he a
Yeah.
linebacker?
Yeah. It was a linebacker. Yep.
Uh, but he's got to get if not the offensive coordinator, he's got to get an assistant offensive coach that the quarterbacks coach is like, nah, this is the guy we need,
Yeah.
and everybody else is going to sit. So that's where we are with that. So Archie
I don't
Manning
know.
went
I don't know. Maybe I didn't pay attention enough. But have you seen him the camera during the football games like last year? You see the camera pan to the crowd, to the stands, and you would see Archie, on the arch in the crowd at Georgia games. But did you see him at the other teams? Like did the camera pan over to show him anywhere?
not that I know of, because the only games that I watched all the way through were the Georgia games.
Yeah.
Everything else, and caught up with the everything on Sports Center just to be up to snuff, and
Right.
then
Right.
did my research. Because
I was just wondering because I mean I never did. Not that I paid that much attention, obviously like you did. I
oh no,
paid.
I take that back. I did see him at the Ole Miss game.
Oh, it was there. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he went. Of course, he was gonna go to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like even
That's
as a courtesy, even if he's not planning on going, he had to visit both his uncle's alma mater. So he went to Tennessee and he went to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And I saw him at the Ole Miss game. I think he was at the Egg Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't see him, so I've seen him several times at the Georgia games and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's leaning pretty heavy towards. I think Georgia is going to wind up being. I mean, it's going to be a tough decision. I think if anything, it's going to come down. To be completely honest, it'll either be Georgia, and watch what I tell you, and this was going to shock you. It's either going to be Georgia. It's either going to be Georgia or Texas.
okay.
And here's why I say Texas, even though that program appears to be in shambles.
Mhm.
he has an opportunity to be the big fish in the big fish
Mhm.
in the medium-sized pond. Because
Right.
Texas does have a huge booster base. They have a huge fan base. They've got a really storied tradition, their storied program. But do you want to come to Georgia and be a big fish in a pool with other big fish? Or do you want to go to Texas and ball out?
But that begs the question, though. Do you really think? I mean, we know how Kirby is, but I mean, the lineage of Arch. Would you not start him? I mean, like, what would be the case for not starting him? If you know what I'm
Based
saying?
based on strictly based on what we've seen in the last 6 years. I mean, he's had some other guys that were stud quarterbacks, and they wound up going to other programs. Jacob Eason wound up going to Washington.
But they
Justin,
weren't a Manning type, of Manning
well, I
lineage.
well, I get it, but again, you're talking about a kid in high school. College
Yeah.
ball is at a whole different speed.
Yeah.
College ball is like that secret sixth gear. Like you're in fifth and the pedals to the floor,
Right.
and then you shift over and back and hit it and tap it on the side 2 times and hit the NOS, and now you're in sixth and you're doing over 200. College ball runs at a different speed than high school ball. I
No,
mean,
and I agree with what you're saying. Is that seems to be the topic of conversation, though? Like on most of these quote unquote Georgia fan groups, blah blah blah, blah they skip. But I mean, they're saying that.
I like that blase skip. I'm gonna have to use that. Skip Bayless.
But
Okay.
they're saying that kind of stuff. Like if he comes to Georgia, he better play than you got these other fans are saying, like, "Oh, why would you want to come to Georgia? He won't play because Kirby doesn't play, 5 stars or whatever nonsense they floating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, based on what we've seen, Jacob Eason was the starter. He got hurt. He didn't get his job back.
Right.
Justin Fields came in, and everybody thought he was going to be the greatest thing since the coming of sliced bread or whatever was big before sliced bread. And he wound up, he didn't even see the field because Kirby handed the reins to Jake. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now Stetson won the national championship, and it's kind of assumed that unless he jacks up during training camp, he's going to be the starter.
Yeah.
And that's with Brock and Carson behind him and Gunner coming.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
No,
I would like to think that he would play, but I think just using that logic, I feel that he would have a better opportunity to start if he were at Texas.
I agree.
Because he comes out. I think Bryce is a true freshman. Like here's the thing. Bryce is a true freshman, which means that last season, which means, or maybe he was the other kid, CJ Stroud was a red shirt. I don't know if Bryce was a true freshman or if he was a red shirt. I think he was a true freshman. So he was a true freshman. So he's got to play this season and he's got to play the 2023 season. I think Arch is going to come in wanting to start. That's why I say he's either leaning towards Georgia just because of the history of the program and the strength of the program, being the up and coming team in the SEC, having won a championship.
Fresh off one, yeah.
Or he's gonna go to Texas because he would probably have a better chance at starting, unless Texas does a complete 180 and just becomes this super stud Big 12 team the next 2 years. But I don't see it.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that because that would give him more of an opportunity of a starting role. I see exactly where you're going with the Texas thing, but he wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I'm not even hearing any big names in Texas. I mean, he probably wouldn't even have to fight for the starting job.
Nah. I mean, most of the guys that made the difference on the squad when Texas got that run going before they played Oklahoma will be gone by the time he comes out because the quarterback transfer, Casey Thompson transferred out. Bijan Robinson is they're predicting he's going to have a big year this year, and he's draft eligible after this season. So there's 2 big weapons there that'll be gone. Most of the guys Texas never was really all that great on defense. So that's going to be the other thing that might be part of it. Is he going to go there and be a stud on offense, but then he's just going to have to, the offense is going to have to work that much harder to keep a team in games because the defense
it'll be a shootout every game.
Yeah, you can't. That Colt McCoy was a gunslinger, and he didn't win every game. May he rest in peace. But is it Colt McCoy or is it the kid from Hawaii that passed away?
Oh yeah, that was a kid from Hawaii. Because they played with the Redskins, right?
Colt Brennan. Colt Brennan. I'm sorry.
Colt Brennan.
Colt Brennan. Colt Brennan was a gunslinger too, and they had that one phenomenal season where we went out there and did a little hula dance on them. But
yeah, I was actually on a cruise when that happened.
Yeah,
I was surprised they were playing the game. But yeah, they, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think? Where do you out of the three schools that I mentioned, where do you think he'll wind up, picking when it's time to commit?
I don't know. I kind of tend to agree with what you said after you kind of was talking about it, or about Texas, because that would give him the opportunity to start, not have to necessarily fight for the job. Which I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't win the job, hands down. I mean, but then again, you look at Georgia, fresh off the heels of winning the national championship. Do you want to go to a program that's on its way up, to winning more championships? I don't know. I mean, I think he might come to Georgia, to be honest with you. I think because I mean, I've seen him, and just from what he's talked about, saying that Athens is the best college town, or just kind of the comments he's made. I don't know if he's actually throwing that out just to kind of throw people off, but just kind of that stuff makes me to believe he's gonna come to Georgia.
I don't think it's a throwing people off thing. I mean, Athens is a great college town. I mean, I went to school there. I can tell you it's a great college town.
I partied there. I did have the grade school there. So.
My friend. The reason why I wound up at Savannah State the following. But no, mind you, not a knock on Savannah State. To those of you that are watching right now, because Savannah State is an excellent school with excellent credentials and a rich and storied history. It's just that I started at the University of Georgia, and if I had done what I was supposed to do, I would have finished at the University of Georgia. But I wound up having to sit out and go to another school for a term, and then enrolling at Savannah State. I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay home and go to school. And, things worked out very well for me at Savannah State.
Oh, yeah.
So there we go.
You tend to learn the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I absolutely did. Okay, I don't know how long these sound effects are, so I have to kind of wait them out.
Just like you have too much fun there, brother.
No. If I really wanted to have fun, I'd boot up the remember the sound effects I used to have at karaoke. I still got the baby right here. Gosh. Yeah, but no, we not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that today. Anyway. So we're gonna move this thing along. Those of you that just joining us, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz from Zagnib Central. That is the brother from another, Collin P, coming all the way live from the DMV. Oh snap! I just made another one. Watch out now. I like that. No, this is better. Collin P from the DMV. There you go.
Don't know it. Sorry.
Wait, look. Watch this. By the time we get done, you're going to be like a whole freestyle. It's like the brother from another, the sexy Mother Hubbard, the ace of base, in your face, in the place, Collin P from the DMV. Like that whole thing is going to be just like.
That's $1 million song right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to make a YouTube video. It's going to be us. Me and you with our Georgia gear on with the camera just spinning around us. We just going to be mean mugging like.
I'm down with it. Let's go. I'm down with it. Let's go.
Let's go. So we're going to keep this thing moving. Want to thank one of our other sponsors, Envision Social Media. You got social media problems, they got the solution. Hit them up today, giving you the power to empower, create, and sustain your social media presence on the internet. Visit them today at envisionsocialmedia.com. That's www.envisionsocialmedia.com. Thank you for being a sponsor of This Week in SEC Football. Like I said, go get yourself some merch. tinyurl.com/ZA podcast merch. We got all the merch that's fit to wear and all the wear that's fit to merch. That didn't make any sense, but I made it work.
Not the wear to fit the wear.
Yeah, the underwear. We go look. This whole show is gonna be nothing but rhymes. We just come on all the time, and Colin will be like, "What you say?" And I said, "I didn't like you anyway." And he said, "But bro, we dog fans." And I said, "That's what people say all across the land. It's just
Hey,
gonna
I've
be
been
a
told
whole."
all my life. I've been told all my life I needed subtitles. I need like this closed caption underneath of when I'm talking. I need that.
Ah.
And you know my nickname is Boomhauer, and Boomhauer fits me just perfectly. You know, dang on.
Hey man, look,
Bama does what Bama do.
that's always
There you
gonna
go.
be you. That's gonna be you right there, man.
There you go.
Oh man, so we're gonna move on to our next topic. We're gonna jump into. Yes, it hasn't gone away yet, y'all. I mean, the monster just keeps growing bigger every day. You know how Thanos went around the universe, and every time he collected an Infinity Stone, he got a little stronger. You know, or like when the Hulk gets mad, and the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. The NIL train is just running out of control. There was an article that came out, I believe it was from Bleacher Report, and it was Ryan Day, coach of Ohio State. Did you see the article, sir?
I didn't see it.
We have the article posted on. By the way, go by and visit us at. If you'd like to visit us on Facebook, we are at This Week in the SEC. That is the name of the Facebook group. It is visible to the public, but you have to, request permission to join the group, and we got to vet you and stuff like that, like you trying to get a government job or something like that. But come on by and join us at This Week in the SEC on Facebook. You can also check us out at Zagniff Productions on the IG. But I posted this to the group, and it was Ryan Day from Ohio State, and he said that the amount of money that he needs to be able to compete with these other schools that are coming up with these insane amounts of money that these other schools are coming up with. Those of you that are in the chat, are just popping in. Hello, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. These insane amounts of money that are being thrown around. He said that it's going to take him $13 million minimum to retain his roster.
13. Wow.
13 million.
That's insane.
So now someone has gone on record as essentially saying, this is our salary cap that we need to keep our players. And his logic was, there's other schools out there that are waving money around, and these guys will jump ship in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But I think he's protesting a little bit too much. And the reason that I say that is, I think these teams can carry up to 80 guys on a roster. They can only dress so many on Saturday, but they've got a bunch of guys on the roster. So is it the whole concept of like he's the leprechaun fretting over his pot of gold, and he doesn't even want to give up his third and fourth stringers that he barely lets see any time, unless they're up by 5 touchdowns, because that guy might be a diamond in the rough. But he's saying it's going to take him $13 million just to keep his current roster. That's absolutely crazy. I can't fathom such a thing, man. So what are your thoughts on
that's
that?
in college. I mean, that's I can't either. That's fat. I mean, that's unfathomable. Like really, like who is he? I mean, like I wonder where he gets that number from. Like 13 million. I mean, like who's he basing it? Is it a particular school or a particular conference? I mean, like is it just the number he's throwing out there? You know what I mean?
I believe that he kind of got that from the average of like the top 5 highest NIL valuations. I mean, you got kids in high school right now, that have NIL deals waiting on them
till they graduate.
When they graduate, I think like Bronny James, even though his dad is a billionaire. By the way, LeBron James, first active NBA player to become a billionaire, even though his dad's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's got money waiting on him when he graduates from wherever it is that he's going to school. Not a big NBA guy, folks. I apologize to those of you that are NBA fans, and I don't want to upset anyone. It's just football is my number one sport, and I love it. But Bronny's got a huge deal waiting on him when he gets out. When he gets out of high school, he's gone, and he's got money in his pocket already. Boom, and Dad's probably got sponsorship deals lined up for him too. And and that's the thing is 2 words: market value.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a couple of guys with I think Rattler has a $1 point something million NIL deal at South Carolina. Okay.
I didn't see that yet.
So if Spencer Rattler, having had the season he had last year, has this huge NIL deal, what do you think some 5-star some 5-stars coming in next year is going to want? He's going to want 2 or
It's
3
gonna
million.
be going. I mean, it's gonna keep going up and up and up and up and up.
Hey, what's up, Foobs? Appreciate you dropping by. Andrew Faubert, our buddy from the neighbors to the north, one of our resident Canadian football gurus stopping by to say hello. Appreciate you, brother. It's crazy, man. So market value is market value is what dictated that insane contract that they gave Deshaun Watson, which they might not wind up paying, but having to pay out. But that's a different subject for a different show in the Let's Talk Football
Number
family.
24 already on the docket. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So right. But it's like what do you do as a college? Like, it's presented a new challenge for these coaches. It's like, not only are you competing to get the best players in the country, entice them to want to come to your school and play football. Now, in addition to that, you're competing against, Nate Snell in the building. What's up, Nate? To host of the Big Nate Sports Podcast. He talks WNBA, Major League Baseball, professional football. Huh?
I said he talks it all, doesn't he? Like, he's pretty much
he talks about a lot of things. Really big in the WNBA. Is one of the few podcasters sports podcasters that talks NBA. He's also now an insider for the Washington Mystics. So he gets to call in and ask questions at the press conference. So thank you for joining us, sir. Appreciate you. Big Nate Podcast. You can find that right on YouTube. Just type in the Big Nate Sports Podcast. And he's got he's been doing it like 3-4 years, and he's got a ton of episodes.
A ton of content.
A ton. Like, we're doing like one episode a week. Nate will be watching the game and something will happen, and he'll be like, I've got to come on and talk about this right now.
Yep.
Going
back to NIL, though, I mean, it goes back to what we've always said. There needs to be some kind of something done with the cap on it, and not the cap space, or not cap space, but I mean, there's got to be a limit. Is what I'm trying.
They're going to have to cap it, and I still stand by what I put out before about the trust fund, because
I agree with you totally. That makes sense.
Because what's going to wind up, I mean, if it keeps going at the rate these kids are getting money, I mean, last year DJ Ugalele got $1 million deal. As soon as they said go for it, DJ Ugalele had $1 million deal with Dr. Pepper. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got people with $3 million deals. Next year you're going to have kids with $5 million deals. At the rate this is going, at the rate that's going, these kids are going to be making the same money as the pro players in a decade's time if it runs unchecked. And guess what that means? If the kids start think about this. The guys that are playing in the league right now, you've trained as a football player your entire life. Then you go off to college and you play and you just work out and you beef up and you boom, boom, boom. And then you get drafted and then you get your rookie deal. And then at the end of your rookie deal, they hand you a $15 million a year contract, right? Which ain't nothing to sneeze at. But then they hand you a $15 million contract in the offseason. You win a Super Bowl, right? So that's in February. And then come June or July, you hear Boise, Idaho 5-star quarterback has $27 million NIL deal to go play at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm going? So then
absolutely. Yeah.
That means at the NFL level, if we definitely understand how inflation works right now, don't we all? So anyway, they definitely got to do something to get that under control. But $13 million, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane to me how it's gotten here. How it's actually gotten to this point,
and quickly.
And very quickly. It was actually, we knew it was going to get there, but I actually didn't think it was going to be this quick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dude, listen, it hasn't even been a year. It hasn't been a year since the NCAA signed off on it. It's been 11 months.
I mean, a lot of these kids are getting it even before their performance has been evaluated. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing. You're 5-star according to who? Okay, this paper says you're this, that, and other. Your greatest things since sliced bread, like you said, before sliced bread, whatever. But we have not seen you on the field. In college, I have not seen you do anything. Yeah.
Side note, got a question to ask you, man.
Sure.
That thing gets bumped around a lot. The best thing since sliced bread. Okay, and I've been listening to that phrase for 50 years. So has nothing else come along since sliced bread that's been better so that the saying can change? Like sliced bread is where we start. Like, think about it. The wheel, figuring out how to make clothes, figuring out how to build houses, automobiles, televisions, radios. Nah, fam, sliced bread. What vaccinations we can wipe out? We can wipe out we can wipe out diseases, man. Like we've wiped out polio. We've almost wiped out chicken pox. We've wiped out the meat. Nah, fam. Have you tasted John Durst bread hot out of the oven with some butter on it? Sliced bread.
Somebody lazy.
Now here we are.
Some lazy person probably came up with that. He's like, hey man, what this big old piece of bread? What we gonna do with this? Oh, it came to me sliced.
Right. And wait a minute. And now in 2022, self-driving cars, the internet, the invention of the virtual world. That one kind of scares me a little bit, but we ain't gonna get into that. That's a different discussion for a different podcast. The whole virtual universe, the metaverse, all of these things, and we still at sliced bread. I mean, couldn't we at least upgrade the Krispy Kreme glazed donuts? Is the best thing since Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. Wait. The best thing since the Crystal's 24 steamer pack.
Don't even joke about that either.
You know what I'm saying? The best thing since Jack in the Box on a Friday night after leaving the bar at 2 a.m. Any of those things. Nah, fam. Sliced bread. That's where we are. But yeah, to get back to this NIL thing, we kind of got to wrap this up and move along to our next segment. It's the number one problem. As soon as I heard, I was excited for it when I heard it, but as soon as I heard that the NCAA was leaving it up to the states and the schools to figure out how to make it work, I said that's going to be trouble right there. And now here we are. Yeah. And then how do you unring that bell? Like, how do you roll that back?
Right.
Because it's only going to
take that money away from. I mean, once you give those kids that kind of money, I mean, you ain't taking it from them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking, but you're gonna have some angry kids, some angry people who try to.
Or at what point, if they start enforcing regulations, at what point do you make the cutoff? Like, does this only apply to players that will become? Imagine being a senior, you're getting ready to graduate high school, and then the NCAA finally says, "Look, we gonna limit you guys to X number of dollars a year." Yeah. And these guys have been working these deals all year long, and now they're thinking they'll get 2.5, and now they can only get maybe 300,000 over the course of 3 or 4 years.
Well, at that point, I mean, they're just going to be mad. I mean, like you said, though, it's something that has to be done. You know what I mean? And who was it that said? Somebody said something that made a lot of sense. That it actually happened too fast. NIL stuff happened too fast. Each school should have somebody that actually works only the NIL stuff. Like, I mean, it should have somebody to regulate that in the school, or maybe if it needs to be one or two or more than one person.
No, they need a department, because it's not just going to be limited to. It's not just going to be limited to football, because you got most schools have football, baseball, basketball, and then you've got gymnastics. And come to find out, that I didn't even know there were cricket teams. So, like, you got cricket teams and lady softball and swim teams and golf and track and field. So you would need a whole department. I would figure you'd need about a department of about 20 people.
But they would need theoretically they would need that before now. I mean, they should have had that before now. They should have that department to have all this stuff lined up before anybody signs anything on anything on the dotted line or anything like that. You know,
what they in retrospect, because hindsight's always 2020.
Oh, absolutely, 2020.
The NCAA probably should have said, we will allow the NIL deals effective in a period of 1 to 2 years, but prior to that, we must receive proof that every school has come up with a business plan of action. You must have a department But then that limits like the smaller schools and the Power 5 schools. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
But
but
has there been any NIL deals for the smaller schools that you're aware of?
There was the kid that went to Jackson State got a nice little deal, and of course, Coach Nick had a lot to say about that. He said that Dion paid the kid $1 million, but
who knows if that's true or not? I mean,
yeah, he got a nice little deal to go down there. Like, you're not going to hear a lot about kids that go to HBCUs to play football getting big NIL deals, and you're not going to hear a heck of a lot about kids at some of the Power 5 schools getting NIL deals, like you might from a University of South Florida or a UCF or a Cincinnati or something like that. But
that's why it should be smaller, though, right? I mean, like
I'm sorry, not the wait a minute. It's the Power 5, and then what's the other Group of 5? I'm sorry, the Group of 5 schools.
Yeah, but there's another reason why it needs to be a little. I mean, it should be smaller. Like it should be across the board. Colleges, that everybody can on the same page, more or less.
Yeah.
But I nobody's going to agree with it. I mean, a lot of people will disagree with that, but I mean, you've got to try to make it some kind of like equal, and everybody's got the same chance of getting paid the same, amount.
Yeah. What is it that I'm supposed to be smelling, Nate? When Nate said, "Do you smell it?" I'm like, "What?" What am I supposed to be smelling? I don't smell nothing. Nobody's cooking right now. But yeah. So we're gonna move on to our next segment while Nate lets us know. Moving on to our next. Oh, that's great. That is great. Every segment we move on to, we hit that right there. Boom. All right, moving on to our next segment, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Thank you once again for joining us this week in SEC football. Mr. Fingaz, Collin P, doing the doggone thing. Stop by and see my guy, Richard Glover, over at 1906tees.com. Hey, Sean Spencer. Oh, my goodness. We got the godfather of the Let's Talk Football family of there we go. The Let's Talk Football family of podcasts, of which, even though we're not LTF branded, we consider ourselves part of the family. We are regular contributors to the other shows. 1906 Tees. Hit him up at squareup.com/stores/1906 Tees. He can make your custom gear for you, folks. You want it red and black. You want it royal blue and maize yellow and royal blue. I'm sorry, Kate. I'm butchering your school's colors, but you know what I mean. You want it red and black. You want it whatever's. Oh, Nathan Snell, don't you do that right now. We talking about the number 1 pick going, Arch Manning going to the Maryland Terps.
I mean,
I'm gonna tell you something.
Listen, let me tell you something, boo-boo. Whatever you fell and bumped your head on, you better go see a doctor right quick, because you have some kind of intracranial trauma that is causing your brain to swell, and it's gonna ooze out your ears. The Maryland Terps,
they got good uniforms too.
Listen, I'm not dogging your teams. I know you a home team guy through and through, 100%. But his only 3 official visits was Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. And last time I checked, they're a little bit geographically distanced from Maryland and Virginia. But hey, look, if he goes up there might be something to it. He might do a little something if he go up there.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not taking anything away, because Kevin Garnett said anything impossible. So
you want to go to a school where he's a superstar, he can definitely go there and be a superstar.
Yeah, but his whole goal is to get into the league. So and we know how the Manning family operates. You see what happened when Eli got drafted by San Diego.
Said, I ain't going. I ain't going.
I don't want to go play there. Daddy, do something. He's like, hey guys, no. We can go to New York.
That is what I was saying about him going to Georgia. Like if he goes to Georgia, he will absolutely play.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, like I said, that's up to Kirby, but we'll see. We shall see. So we're gonna keep this thing moving along here. SEC games to watch this season. Those of you just joining us, welcome to This Week in SEC Football. Mr. Fingaz, Collin, Peter, brother from another. We got this thing going on here. So we want to talk a little bit. I've got some games here, and I want to get your thoughts, because you've got Georgia coming back as the national champions from earlier this year. You got Alabama on a mission. Nick Saban's pissed off, so he's gonna pull all the stops. Jimbo's a little irritated. I think that he might be a little scared that he pissed off the big dog in the room. So Texas A&M is really going to have to show up. But I got some games that I picked out that I think are going to be great games to watch this season. And, of course, I'm going to start in true fashion. I'm going to start with Georgia versus South Carolina, the Dogs versus the Gamecocks. This game takes place on September 17th. It is a noon kickoff in South Carolina, so it's an away game for the Dogs.
Yep.
It's an away game for the Dogs. So hang on just 1 second. I'm adjusting some stuff here. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I need to move this screen onto over here like that. Those of you that are at home, you can't see what I'm doing, but you know, I got multiple monitors. Your boys doing it like that. So, okay. This game takes place on Saturday, September 17th. It's a noon kickoff on the East Coast, 11 a.m. kickoff here in wonderful, beautiful Oklahoma City. Just for a frame of record, last 5 games, record to record against each other. Georgia went 4-1 with the sole loss being their singular loss of the season against the Crimson Tide in the SEC championships, which they in turn turned around and defeated Alabama in the national championship. And South Carolina had a little surge late in the season. They wound up going 3-2 overall. They did have a close loss to Missouri, and they got completely shellacked by Clemson. So we shall see. Now, here's the big thing. This is the reason why this is an exciting game for me. And then I'm going to hand it over to you and get your thoughts. Georgia lost the bulk of the starters they lost to the draft were from the defense. Now, they're reloading. So I'm expecting the defense to take a little bit of a step back, which means if Kirby's smart, no pun intended. No, if Kirby is smart, no pun intended. But Anthony, Kirby is smart. That's why that's his last name. See what I did there? I didn't even mean to do that. It just worked out that way. But if Kirby's a coach worth his salt, which he's already proven, he's going to work real hard on getting that offense to improve. So basically, what that tells me is that South Carolina not being very strong on defense, they're going to have to step up against the Georgia offense, and the Georgia defense is going to have to step. Well, common sense. But it's just a game that's interesting for me to watch. And then another reason why it's interesting for me to watch is that South Carolina's offense was not exceptionally proficient last year. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, they picked up Spencer Rattler via the transfer portal. Spencer Rattler, who was supposed to be the next coming of every great quarterback to the University of Oklahoma and wound up being benched for Caleb Williams. But as we know, Oklahoma's offense was not all that great. Not their offense. The defense was not that great, and their offense struggled at times. The offensive line struggled. I mean, even when Caleb came in, he had to make tons of plays with his feet. So we'll see where that goes. But that's a game I'm interested to check out. I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree totally. I mean, I think it's always been talked about how much we've lost our defensive, how much the players we lost on defense will impact our season this season. I think it will, but I don't think it's going to be impact as much as people actually think. But then again, you're hoping your offense can kind of take up for that possible shift in the defense that we've had this past year. But I'm with you on South Carolina. That's going to be an interesting game to me to see how they come back. Obviously, come back from last year having a subpar season, and but it looks like they were coming back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they were coming back at the end of the season. Did they have some good games at the end of the season, or were they?
Yeah, I definitely think it will be. I definitely think that will be a really good, and it's going to be an early season. I think it's going to be an early season good game.
Yeah.
Now, Nate, I got a question for you, sir. How you gonna come on an SEC football show and ask me questions about University of Maryland? I just want, bro, I love you, but I'm gonna have to do. This is what I do. This is what I'll do for you. Next show, episode 9, I will do my research on Maryland and Virginia, And if you want to come on, I'm extending that invitation. Matter of fact, Nate, you're more than welcome to come on if you'd like to. Hello to those of you that just joined the comments. Welcome to This Week in the SEC. Mr. Fingaz here, Collin P over there, the brother from another. Moving on to the next game that I think will be really interesting. Tennessee, the Volunteers versus the Panthers of Pitt. The Panthers of Pitt, just a look back at their last 5. Pitt finished 4-1 with their final loss, with their loss of their sole loss in those 5 being a 31-21 loss to Michigan State. A 31-21 loss to Michigan State. And Tennessee wound up finishing 3-2. Of course, we remember the 41-17 drubbing that we gave them, and then losing also in overtime to the Purdue Boilermakers, 48-45. I think Tennessee is going to be much improved on offense. Quarterbacks coming back. They didn't lose a whole terrible lot to the draft. So I think they're going to be very strong. Pitt, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of background on Pitt. I know that Kenny Pickett is now in the league, and that guy was their star. He was the rock. He was the foundation of the offense. So I'm expecting their offense. I don't know what their backup has because I didn't see a lot of them last season. So until I see different, I'm expecting their offense to take a little bit of a step back. I mean, they just even in their last 5, they only had one really close game, and that was an overtime game against North Carolina. So there you have that. But what are your thoughts, sir? I'm definitely thinking this was going to be a good one, and this is a 3:30 kickoff on ABC on the 10th of September, and the game is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and if you remember last year, they had was it on September 11th? They actually played Tennessee, and they won 41-34. Pitt did, and so I'm expecting this to be a good game too. I mean, I don't know. Like, do you think Tennessee's going to be better than they were last year? Because I mean,
here's the thing: Tennessee being in the East. Tennessee finished the season looking up at Kentucky, who finished behind us.
Right.
Now, I'm expecting Kentucky to be much improved, and I'm not expecting to see that much of a step back for Georgia.
Right.
So I don't know. Are they going to be better? I mean, I got 2 losses for them chalked up just with Georgia and Kentucky alone. To answer your question, Nate, about the HBCUs, we do not have an HBCU on our schedule this year. I think the last time that I can recall that UGA played an HBCU, they played against Georgia State, and that was it. Georgia State? No, it was Southern University, and it was a home game. And of course, the Human Jukebox. Love my Redcoat band for life, but the Human Jukebox from Southern University blew the Redcoat band out of the building. They literally ran them out of the building. So so Nate, no, the answer to that question is a no. Let's see. As far as Kentucky, this is our next. Speaking of Kentucky versus Tennessee. For the last few years, Kentucky and Tennessee have kind of duked it out for second place in the East. And again, we know Tennessee's last 5 was a 3-2. Kentucky's last 5 was a 4-1. Their sole loss was to Tennessee, and it was only by a 3-point margin. The rest of the games, Kentucky kind of ran away with, except for their New Year's 6 game against Iowa, in which they won by 3 points. I don't know if it's a field goal, touchdown, whatever it was, but they won by 3 points. Most of Kentucky's offense is coming back to bringing back Chris Rodriguez and Will Levis. I think that's going to be the force to be reckoned with in the East. If there's any team in the East that over the last few years, Stoops has done a great job with that team. If there's any team in the East that I'm really seriously like, okay, I'm looking over my shoulder at as a fan, it's Kentucky. So I'm going to give the edge to Kentucky on this one just because I don't see a rackle-tang of improvement out of Tennessee, but they got a great quarterback coming back. So we shall see. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would agree there also. Like I would be the one to look over my shoulder at Kentucky because they've increasingly getting better and better as seasons come and go. But like Tennessee, I don't know. I still think they're in the rebuilding phase of their football team. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It remains to be seen this year. They would surprise me if they did any better than they did last year. But I mean, there's possibility. But Kentucky,
Yeah, I mean,
Kentucky's going to be like you said, the force to be reckoned with. They will build. I believe they will be better this year. They may have some surprise wins. That we're not. Going to think they're going to win, but they may have surprise.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm working with that. So who are you giving the edge to? You giving the edge to Kentucky in that one?
Yeah, I'm giving the edge to Kentucky.
Okay. All right. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and write these down, man. I'm sitting here and we're just talking, and I should be writing these down because we're going to revisit these at some point. Yeah, we're going to revisit these at some point. Look, did you see me do the Fred Sanford? Yeah, look at it. So Georgia versus South Carolina. Who you got in that one?
Oh, of course I've got Georgia.
Okay, we are unanimous in that one. Let's see. We got who was that I just gave you? Tennessee versus Kentucky. Just for form, I think I'm going with Tennessee. And then what was the other one? I missed one. Did I miss it?
It was Tennessee and Pitt, wasn't it?
Tennessee and Pitt. I'm going to give the edge to Pitt in that one. Who you got?
I'm going to Pitt. I'm going with Pitt.
All right. So that brings us up to the next one. This is Ole Miss versus Arkansas. This one's game's a little later in the season. It's November 19th. Time a kickoff to be determined, which means that we're in the point of the season where the games may be flexed, because that's when when you start looking at they're going to be flexing the higher games, the higher ratings to the more optimum spots. Arkansas had a not bad season last year. They had a not bad season last year. I actually was very impressed with Arkansas. This is not the Arkansas of 3 or 4 years ago. This is a team that with a couple of extra pieces can get real nasty over in the West. I still don't think they're Alabama ready, but they're definitely able to take on, just based on what we saw last year, they're able to take on just about everybody else in that division and easily take them down on a good day. Their last 5, Ole Miss with a 4-1 record, sole loss being a but you understand. A New Year's Day loss to number 7 Baylor, 21-7. They were very dominant in the other 4 games. There was a minimum of a 10-point margin of victory. Now, to be fair, their opponents were Liberty, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State. I'm actually surprised the Texas A&M game was not closer, but the wheels kind of fell off the bus for Texas A&M after the Bama victory. They kind of seesawed there. Now, on the other hand here, Arkansas, their last 5, they finished 4-1. Only loss in that was to Alabama, and that was strictly by a touchdown against Alabama, who at that time was the number 2 team in the nation. Not a huge margin of victory. Mississippi State was ranked 17th at the time. They won that one by 3. It took an overtime win against a struggling LSU. They did double up Missouri 34-17, and Penn State, who was at that point kind of in decline. This also was a New Year's Day game. They beat them by 14 points, 24-10. I am going to say this game is going to be a little bit more evenly hatched. I'm going to lean towards Arkansas, and I'll tell you why. Arkansas is returning most of the guys they got. Hello, Kate. How are you doing? Thank you for watching. Those of you just joining us, welcome to This Week in SEC Football. Mr. Fingaz and Collin, do us a favor. Give us a like and a share if you're watching on the YouTube. Give us a like and a share if you're watching us on Facebook. Let the people know that we are out here letting you know all the news that's fit to talk about in the SEC. Getting back to what I was talking about, I'm going to tell you why. Big portion of the reason why Ole Miss was so successful last year, Matt Corral. And Matt Corral is now in the NFL. I have zero anything on their backup quarterback. We'll get into that we'll get into that a little bit further down the road as we get closer to as training camp starts coming to an end and we get closer to the season. I see Ole Miss taking a step back this year just because he was their leading passer and their leading rusher. So those are two big holes to fill. Arkansas is getting most of the gang back together. So I'm giving Arkansas the edge on this one, and I'm saying they're going to win by at least 5.
At least 5. Is there an early line on that or no?
Not yet. There's
Not
no
yet.
line. There's no lines on it yet. The lines will come out later on. But I'm gonna give them a minimum 5-point margin of victory.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see where you're going with that. You don't think Lane's going to have the crew ready to play against Arkansas there? But
I'm not saying he. I'm not saying he won't have them ready, but unless he's got another carbon copy of Matt Corral at quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, his running backs are going to have to step up, and his running backs are going to have to be absolute studs, and the quarterback is going to have to be on point. So that means there's 2 areas of concentration he's going to have to focus on.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, Arkansas has been coming up as well. They've been showing me a few things that we haven't seen, in a while, and they've been playing pretty good football. But like you said, those 2 holes may prove to be, the reason that Arkansas does win. And I agree with you. It's going to be a close game. I do believe, maybe a field goal, maybe.
So you giving it a field goal, but who are you giving it to?
Arkansas. I'm with you on Arkansas. I agree.
Okay. Well, we are pretty much in sync, like those like Lance and the rest of the group. I'm writing and trying to remember at the same time. Okay, Lance, Joey, JC, Chris, and Justin Timberlake. For those of y'all that might get offended, I know their names. I'm getting to the point where I can only focus on one thing at a time. Is one of those results of getting a little older. All right, next game up. This one I can't wait to see. I don't care if it is a blowout, but I just want to see this one just because of the bad blood, the bad blood between these 2 coaches. That is the Aggies of Texas A&M are traveling to Bryant-Denny Stadium to take on King Nick Saban and his Crimson Tide. I'm just gonna call it. Bama is going to curb stomp Texas A&M. I don't even want to say by how many points, but it's going to be at least 10 because Nick is already mad. Well, Nick kind of took the loss with a grain of salt, but now Jimbo has come for him. Miss Terry's probably playing tapes with subliminal messages on it at night while he sleeps. You want to kill Jimbo Fisher. You want to beat him and run the car off a cliff with the football team.
This game might be over after the first quarter. I mean, and guaranteed he will not. I mean, Saban will not take his foot off the gas. He will score, and when he can score, he will score at will, and as many times as he possibly can. I guarantee it'll be like old bowl coach when he coached for Florida. It will be score at will, and I don't care if the scoreboard don't take it. We're gonna score anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think he's gonna take. I think he's gonna take him to the woodshed for sure. Plus that, you got Bryce Young. Bryce Young he's got a chip on his shoulder. Now he's got to prove that he's worthy of the Heisman. He lost his 2 leading receivers, his number 1 running back in Brian Robinson and John Mechie and Jamison Williams, all gone to the league. Now they still have Will Anderson, who is without doubt the number 1 defensive player in NCAA football coming into the season. So I'm scared. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be at Texas A&M, but his head's going to be on a swivel that Saturday. That is a to be determined kickoff on the 8th of October. Texas A&M last 5, they finished 3-2 with a loss to Ole Miss on the 13th of November by 10 points, 29-19, and a 3-point loss to LSU, who at that point was struggling because at the end of the season, LSU, the wheels had kind of fallen off at that point, but LSU managed to dig out that win, that 9th inning dig-out walk-off. On the other hand, we know Bama finished 4-1, and their sole loss being that same team, the one we was talking about earlier. They spelled the name Jawja, something like that. Something about some dogs or something like that. Something like that. But that was, Yeah, Bama's coming. Jimbo, I'm just telling you, you don't know what you started. Yeah, I mean, you don't even know. I mean, oh my God, no, no.
I
I don't
mean,
want it. Pineapples. What was it? I was just kidding. I thought you broke the piggy bank and gave him a bunch of money. No, no, I don't want to.
I'm really surprised he decided to poke that bear, though, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what possessed him to do it, but I mean, kudos to him, for having, I guess, whatever it was he had to go after, go after Saban. But you don't poke the bear, man. I'm telling you don't poke him, especially with his no.
No, absolutely not. You don't want to make those. You don't want to piss those folks off. Let's see, where are we going next? A lot of these are going to be repeat teams going in because I looked through some of the others, and we'll pick up some more to talk about next week. But I just wanted to touch on a few, and we're going to try and run through these really quickly here. Because let's see, let's go with Tennessee versus South Carolina. We already talked about what Tennessee's bringing to the table. We already talked about what South Carolina's bringing to the table. Actually gonna give this one to South Carolina.
I'm with you, man. I would go with South Carolina as well. I just don't think I think Tennessee's getting better, but I don't think they're quite there yet. And I think South Carolina is a better team.
Well, again, it all hinges on what happens with it all hinges on what happens with the offense, because South Carolina has shown just in this small sample size from the last 5 games that their defense is capable of holding some teams to some points. I don't know what happened against Missouri. And you say what you want to say about Auburn. Most of the problems that they had were based around their coach and not so much their talent, because Auburn, which is going to be the next one we're moving into, Auburn versus Alabama in the Iron Bowl Classic, which is going to be on November 26th at a time to be determined. Auburn took the almost national champions. Well, no, they weren't. It wasn't even close. But they were the national champions the year before. They took the Crimson Tide to 4 overtimes.
They sure did. Yep.
Yeah.
That was very proud, especially with Bo Nix being there,
Yeah.
But,
so just to give you an idea, now here's the telling sign. They have a coach who is returning that it is obvious that they don't want. They tried to get rid of him, and they couldn't come up with show cause to get rid of him. He knows they don't want him there. So is he going to coach these boys up, get them hyped up, and go out there and kick some butt and then just drop the mic on the way out the door because they're going to fire him anyway? Or is he going to pull an Ed Ogeron and be like, whatever, they got to pay me?
Yeah, but what's going to happen with the players? I mean, like, did the play? It goes back to what we were talking about. I mean, a while ago. Do the players actually want to play for a coach that they, that seems to, they don't want him. The college doesn't want him there. So I mean, the players going to be able to look past that, and able to play to their full potential. I mean,
I definitely know it's not going to be a scenario like LSU last year, because Coach Ogeron had won a national championship just 2 years prior,
right?
And he still had some of his recruits that he brought in while he was there, kids he'd coached up that were graduating that year, so they still rallied behind him. Harsin, this is only his second season, and from what I can understand, he has no camaraderie with the team. The team has like little faith in him at all. So we shall see. But they went 0-5 their last 5 games, 20-3 against 20-3 at Texas A&M. They got beat 43-34 versus Mississippi State. They lost to South Carolina by 4. They, of course, the infamous, one of the greatest Iron Bowls I've ever seen. 22 and 4 overtimes, and then they lost to number 20 Houston 13-17. On the flip side, we know about Alabama. We know what they bring to the table. I am going to give this one to Alabama. I'm not, hey, I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to hear the story breaking news on Bleachers Report. Mr. Fingaz is a closeted Alabama fan. I just think that's just the way it's going to go. Auburn is going to be in a rebuild for. They'll probably, if Harsin does as badly this year as he did last year, he's going to get the axe. And then they're going to be in a rebuild again. So I don't see them pulling this off this year. I don't even think it's going to be nearly as close as it was. It might surprise me, but I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I was leaning toward Auburn just for the simple fact of the surprise factor, because I mean, who knows what could happen, but I still think Alabama's going to be, they're going to be hurting from last year, and they're going to be mowing people down. I mean, like it's going to be, what I normally say, Bama does what Bama do, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it with authority, I think.
Yeah, well, the one thing about Alabama is we know Alabama traditionally and since the reign of Nick Saban has only had to sit out a year or two for the national championship.
Hmm.
Well, they won the championship of the 2020 season. Georgia won the championship of the 2021 season. So I am fully expecting that Alabama is going to come out with all guns blazing. Not both. Not both. They're going to be blazing from the hip, from the shoulder, from the knee, over the back, behind the legs. They're just going to be coming full tilt boogie. I seriously, I feel bad for all the teams that Alabama's playing this year, and that's not me being a homer. Rolling on back over to Kentucky versus Ole Miss. We already know their last 5 record. I think Ole Miss pulls this one out. This was going to be kind of a shocker. I think by the time the line comes out, that Kentucky will be favored, but I think Ole Miss is going to pull this one out just because.
Just because. I'm gonna go against the greatest. I'm going Kentucky this time.
So you got Kentucky.
Blue.
Going with Big Blue. Big Blue, the Cats, as our good Kentucky super fan Wesley Gaines calls them. Wes, I hope you're doing well, bro. We might have to talk about another little wager this year, because I know he's gonna be talking smack because we have to play in Kentucky this year because they came to Sanford last year, so we shall see. That's actually one of the games that Golden Blue Dude said we could potentially lose.
He did.
Yeah. Moving
and he
on.
said lose Tennessee too, but go ahead.
No, I think actually that's all of it. That's all the games that I had selected there. But just to talk about KJ Jefferson's coming back, Malik Hornsby's coming back. They got 2 freshmen. They got 1 senior running back coming back in TJ Hammonds from Little Rock. This looks like this is going to be a really young team. A lot of freshmen and sophomores. Traylon Burks will be back at wide receiver. He was one of those studs for the Arkansas, for the Razorbacks. Did a lot of work there. Good Lord, they've got like a whole house full of wide receivers. They got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 wide receivers. Of course, like I said, you can carry a big roster. It's just everybody can't dress for the game. Exactly. Speaking of Arkansas, since that's it, that's what we got. So you and I both picked Georgia over South Carolina. I picked Tennessee over Kentucky. You went with Kentucky. We both picked Pitt in the Tennessee versus Pitt. We both went with Arkansas in the Old Miss. We both went with Bama against Texas A&M. We picked the Gamecocks against Tennessee. We both picked Bama over Auburn, and then you picked Kentucky, and I picked Ole Miss in that game. So that's what we got. We'll have more. Games in the SEC games to watch in the SEC on next week's show. But I wanted to talk about this too, since we're talking about Arkansas. We did say that Pittman has done a great job with Arkansas. Well, he just got a new contract through 2026. He led them to their first top 25 finish in 11 years. Last time they finished in the top 25 was 2011.
Wow.
They'll extend it by a year if he wins more than 7 games. If he wins a bowl game against a Power 5 or a top 25, that can also count towards his 7 wins. They're raising his salary to a little bit more than $6 million a year. So he's getting ready to move into the range where Kirby was last year. And I think Kirby got an extension and a nice little chunk of a raise too.
Yes, he did.
How much did Kirby get up to? Is he at 8 now? Because he was like at 6 point something last year.
He's close to 8. It might be like 9. I think he's like closer to 9. I think.
Yeah, well, that's only fitting of. Look at what he's doing with the program, man.
I know.
Not to turn this back into a complete "we love UGA" fest, but
that's great.
Yeah. So, that brings us moving on to our next segment, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this week for This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz. That's Collin P. all the news that's fit to print about SEC football this week. We're on to our next segment here, which we like to call the 2-minute warning. And I don't know. I know a lot of my statuses, a lot of my 2-minute warnings have been about take care of yourself, love one another, do these kinds of things. But it's just hard to not look around and see what's going on around you right now and not just try and keep people encouraged. I know that a lot of you that are watching, you've seen the news stories, you've seen the things that are going on. We're still we're coming out of COVID, and then now all of a sudden there's this monkeypox. You see the things that are going on in the news, you see the things that are going on all around the world, and it's easy to be discouraged. The only thing that I can tell you, and I don't have a formula for how to do it, but the only thing that I can really tell you is try and take the time every single day to find something to enjoy about life, whether it's something small or whether it's something big. Whether it's having a conversation with the barista that's making your coffee, or somebody happens to pay you a compliment, or it's just a really pretty day out and you're riding and you're just looking at the sun setting as you're driving home. Well, God, I hope you're not driving home when the sun is setting, because the days are getting longer. That means you don't get off work till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Later than that if you live further north. But
yeah,
I digress. Just try and take a moment to every day find something that makes you say, life is good. Life is not as bad as I think it is. Life is pretty deep. Life is decent. So just take a moment. I mean, whatever it is. Like this right here. This is my moment today. This, and then when at the end of, bless you, sir. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna climb into bed with the missus and we'll cuddle up and watch something on TV. But yeah, try and find something, anything, big, small, find something, because in the grand scheme of things, life is really short. We say people live 90, 100 years, and that's long. It's a long time to us. But this big old spinning rock that we've been on, the third one from the sun, has been around for a long time, way before we were even here. So yeah, enjoy it, because it goes by in an eye blink. It dawned on me the other day. I posted a status on Beyonce's Blue app that I have gotten to the point. I hosted karaoke. Those that don't know, I hosted karaoke for almost 20 years. And over that 20-year period, I had different phases of people come and go. I had the group that was around the time you and I met, and then that group kind of dissolved and reformed itself with new cast of characters, and those younger people got to a point where I was in my 40s and hosting shows to packed houses with people in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is the thing that is making me realize how quickly life flies by. Most of those young kids from that second group, a whole rack of them are married and have kids, and their kids are turning 4 and 5 and 6. And I'm like, my God, what? Like, you weren't even like, it seems like I just saw you 2 days ago and you were singing Wannabe by the Spice Girls with a bunch of other drunk girls. And now you're a married, responsible mom with a 5-year-old getting ready to go to kindergarten. And, I'm getting ready to blow out 52 candles here in a few weeks. So, it goes by really quickly. So take the time to enjoy it. Things suck, but life keeps moving. And if we let everything weigh us down, then it can really push you into a corner and into a rut. So try. I'm not saying, this isn't a Yoda do or do not. There is no try. Try really hard to just find something every day that's a feel good moment for you. And that's my 2-minute warning.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, man. And even going through the things that I've gone through, me and Brady's mom and that kind of stuff. Going back, let me back up a little bit. You were saying like the way the world is right now about the COVID and the monkeypox, and it seems like when you turn on television, news is there to, I guess, not. News is supposed to be the news, but it seems like every time you turn on television or turn on radio or something bad's going on. And like you said, it can be hard to, I guess I hate to use the cliche, but see the forest through the trees. I mean, that life is better, than it is being portrayed. There are things in life you can't necessarily stop the bad things from happening, but you can always focus on the good things that are actually still around. And that's never been so more apparent to me. We're going through the stuff with my son, and just seeing how hard it's been for us, but it can always be harder. I always say that it's always worse for someone else. Somebody's always got it worse than I got it, no matter how bad it is. Somebody got it worse. And, I'm just thankful that every morning I wake up and I'm vertical, and there's not really too much else to be mad about. You know what I mean? If you're up and breathing and vertical, walking around, have people that love you and you love people, there's a lot to smile about. So,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's my 2-minute warning there as well. I agree with you totally, dude. Just it's very hard to notice and focus on the good things with so much bad is happening or seems to be happening right now. But there's good out there, believe it or not.
Always, man.
And good people. So.
Always 100%. I agree with you 100%, my friend. So that, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us today. We do appreciate you guys checking in with us today here at This Week in SEC Football. We try and do this every week. We don't always manage to succeed, but we try and put out an episode at least once every 2 weeks. Right now, we'll be going every week once football season starts. We'll be going hard in the paint. So, no days off because we got to keep up with the news and keep you abreast of what's going on. We'll be putting up little short clips of these videos for those of you that can't sit through a whole hour and 20-minute show. We appreciate you. Oh, by the way, Gold and Blue Dude, that reminds me, just because I said a timestamp. Gold and Blue Dude, I'm still waiting to hear from you, bro. Get at me, Doc. Let me know something. Let me know something. Man, appreciate you, bro. One of the hardest working dudes out there. Gold and Blue Dude. At least one video every day, sometimes 2 or 3. College football, college basketball, West Virginia fan. Great dude. Check him out if you get an opportunity. But we try and do this for you every week, and we appreciate those of you that have been supporting. We have people that are now regularly watching every week, and that is absolutely awesome. We have folks that are checking out the videos, the shorts, because like I said, some folks don't want to sit and listen to 2 people talk for an hour at a time. But but we appreciate you all too for tuning in nonetheless and watching and sending us love. Just a little note here. We do have the website with the merchandise from our show, tinyurl.com/ZA podcast merch. Go by there and check us out. We've also got the Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Zagnev Productions. I'm working on the tiers right now, on the levels. It's my understanding a few people sent me a couple messages, said, hey, man, we'd love to support you guys, but you're a little bit more, for some guys that are just getting started, you kind of you're pricing yourself out of the market. So we're going to adjust the tiers to make them a little more economically friendly, especially since that gasoline is getting expensive. Bruh, it's $4.30 a gallon by me, right? We talked about that yesterday. How about which way am I looking? Okay, that's the front of the house, which means we're going that way. 2 miles east of here, there is a 7-Eleven, and their gas is $4.75 a gallon. A mile down the street. It's crazy, bro.
That's insane.
Of course, that 7-Eleven also is surrounded by 3 or 4 gated communities. With the houses that are on the upper end of 6 figures and above. So I guess I can follow that logic, but still, the average Joe like me, I'm like, dang, it's gonna cost me $5 to get enough gas to put in my lawnmower. Like just a couple weeks ago, I could fill up the gas can for the lawnmower for like $1.75. Now it's gonna cost me.
There's a 22-gallon tank, man. It's $92. I mean, it's like I saw somebody post that the other day. It's almost $100 to fill up your car. You got 20.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for me driving a car with a 13-gallon tank.
Yeah.
But even still, that's up to 52.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 52 on a good day. Right now, I got a half a tank. I might need to fill up.
You sound like my parents. My parents never let it go below half a tank because it hurts their heart.
Well, that's the key to it. That's the key to it now, man, is fill your tank all the way up. As much as it hurts, as soon as you get paid, go straight to the gas tank, fill up your tank, and then do not let it get past half empty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a half a tank of gas for me, what is it, $4 a gallon? A half a tank for me is like $24, $25. That's a lot more palatable. I can stand to spend $25 at the gas pump and be full.
Yeah.
Now it would be nice if I could spend $25 from E to F, but I don't even like driving to E no more. My favorite gasoline meme right now is I put $25 worth of gas in my car and it went from a small E to an uppercase E.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's my favorite one right there.
There you go.
But anyway, we do thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. We will be back next week with episode 9. On behalf of This Week in SEC Football, I have been Mr. Fingaz from Zagnif Central, the brother from another Collin P, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in your face, in the place, all the time with the rhymes. Not a bump on the log because he loved them Georgia dogs.
Collin P from the DMV.
Collin P from the DMV. On behalf of my co-host and myself, we thank you, folks. This has been there we go. This has been This Week in SEC Football. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.